A sphere of possible extraterrestrial origin was recovered by a civilian in Colombia. Check this out. What baffles me is how this thing was flying with seemingly no propulsion. It has no thrusters or anything of that kind. It looks as though it is an anti-gravity craft. Then, when you think it's going to go away, it seemingly turns around and starts coming right towards him. It lands nearby. It's almost as if the thing knew he was filming it and intentionally landed nearby so he would recover it. He had been filming it since March. Initially, he was reluctant to give it up to the government because he didn't want to never see it again. He knew that if the government took it, it would be the last time he'd probably lay hands on it, which of course is true. But I think they pretty much told him that he has no choice. He gave it up and the government started running tests on it. The tests are absolutely mind-boggling. And the results of these tests are nothing short of astounding. Lab technicians released X-ray images of the mind-boggling sphere after witnesses claimed to have seen it flying over the town of Buga in March. It was said to have been zigzagging through the skies in an unconventional pattern. The UFO sphere was reportedly recovered shortly after the landing. It has since been analyzed by scientists who have now revealed their groundbreaking research on the extraterrestrial item. They discovered that it featured 3 layers of metal-like material and 18 microspheres inside, which surrounded a central nucleus. Scientists are calling this a core chip. A radiologist who examined the sphere, Dr. Joe Luis Velasquez, said that they found no welds or joints, which usually indicate human production. The scientists concluded it is of artificial origin, in that it shows no evidence of welding and its internal structure is composed of high-density elements. More testing is needed to establish its origin, he says. The mind-blowing object also displayed symbols that the team compared to ancient scripts. These included runes, Ogham, and Mesopotamian writing systems. The scientists then used AI to help them decode the bizarre text. They interpreted it as saying, the origin of birth through union and energy in the cycle of transformation, meeting point of unity, expansion, and consciousness, individual consciousness. The researchers said that they understood the text to be a message to humanity, encouraging a collective shift in consciousness to help Mother Earth. The object was recovered on March 2nd by a group of people who said it weighed about 4.5 pounds at the time of recovery. But later, the scientists weighed it and it was 22.5 pounds, so it seemingly added weight from transition to flying to the scientific lab. They then described it as having the temperature of a refrigerator when they touched it. One of the individuals who recovered the object, David Velez El Potro, said that the object was authentic and claimed to have found it in the woods in Buga. He also said the man who found it and touched it, Jose, felt sick for days after touching the sphere. Velez said, when I poured water on it, it started to smoke, and the water vaporized instantly. There are yet to be any official reports or scientific analysis to confirm claims of a sphere falling over Buga, only eyewitness reports. Velez added the government contacted him to hand over the sphere pretty much immediately, but he refused, arguing that it would never be seen again. Researchers found that the sphere had irregular edges, which indicated that it is a solid object. The outer layer was said to be the most dense area, almost possessing human bone density. The breakthrough research suggests that the outer layer could be made of titanium or steel. So I went ahead and pulled the main portion of the imagery off from the sphere, put it into ChatGPT, and this is what it said. Number 1, the symbol, shape, outer circle. The repeated geometric pattern with human-like shapes, head plus body, forms a circle representing unity, connectedness, or a universal council. This often symbolizes universal life, community, or shared knowledge. The central icon, the microchip-like core. The center looks like a tech microchip combined with a sun/star motif. This likely symbolizes the merging of ancient knowledge or language origins with modern technology, data, AI, or information. It reflects the idea of ancient wisdom powering modern tech. The circular writing. The text seems inspired by ancient Mesopotamian cuneiform, Ogham linear notations, meant to represent the first languages. It means a lost ancient communication without conveying the literal message. Mirroring and rotations are symbolic of hidden truths only revealed to seekers. This emblem would represent the unbroken link between the first human civilizations, like Mesopotamia, and the Celtic keepers of oral and written tradition, merging with the communication and the technology of a digital today. Now, this wouldn't be the first time we've seen an orb similar to this. There was the one that landed on an airport runway in United Kingdom, but I feel that these orbs have been around for a long time. Now, I can't help but wonder if maybe these orbs with the chip have similar powers or similar abilities or capabilities as the ones that surrounded MH370. With the chip integrated in this orb, it makes me wonder if possibly it has the ability to relocate an item, teleport it. And the way it was flying around, if it didn't have its own intelligence or wasn't manned by some sort of craft that was in the sky at the time or manned by some sort of extraterrestrial being, it makes you wonder if they didn't pre-program it to act out a certain way. It's weird that it was flying around in March. He captured it in March, but it was flying around that town for quite some time before it did happen to land. And why did it land is the next question. Is it to send a message to humanity that we need to come together to gain consciousness? Is it to give us a piece of alien technology? What could it possibly be? Only time will tell. Now, I want to throw up the original video one more time. This is a really good view of it. And you can see that it is, in fact, using some sort of thrusters that looks to be coming out of the holes around the band in the middle to steer or guide it to wherever it's trying to go. So, yes, it's anti-gravity, but it does use those as thrusters, seemingly, to direct it. Check it out.
¿Qué carajos? Y un globo no es. Eso se ve como algo extraño. Sí. No, es súper rápido. Una pelota no es, ni un globo. Un globo no es. Eso es otra cosa. Nos estamos acercando. Mira cómo alumbra de varios colores, eso es como metálico, ¿cierto? Mira, mira cómo se mueve a mera velocidad.
Pretty wild stuff. Nothing like anything I've ever seen, and only time will tell exactly what this thing is about and what it entails. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but hopefully they don't tear it apart, and hopefully they come to a conclusion that makes sense and will give us insight as to what's going on with it. Awesome discovery. The following is the Cassandra Project. It hasn't been verified, but many speculate that this took place in the 1970s. It was just put away in the top secret files and was never released by the CIA to the public. This is how the story goes. Elena Sorokina maintained a neutral influence on the orange-colored office chair in the middle of the green-walled technical corridor. It was 1973, the day of the Aurora experiment, named for the theory that the human brain waves could shine like the northern lights when properly stimulated. Elena wore the same white coat as scientific personnel, a standard protocol for minimizing environmental variables during testing. The thin adhesive electrodes on her temples connected to a small transmitter hidden in her coat pocket. From there, invisible to the four men who observed her, the signals traveled through the cables located on the floor to the diagnostic panels on the walls. This corridor, known as Section 9, was specifically designed for survival testing in tight spaces. Dr. Weiss, standing to his right in a white coat, monitored her reactions, while Major Ramirez, in beige garb, checked the data on the analog monitors embedded in the wooden walls. At the end of the hallway, Doctors Nakamura and Anson were taking notes, unaware that Elena could sense their whispered conversations. The mental synchronization device, nicknamed MSR-5, was at the heart of the project, years ahead of publicly available technology. It used calibrated electromagnetic fields to amplify the neural impulses associated with extrasensory perception. At the end of each session, Elena faked fatigue, carefully hiding the progress she was making. They didn't want a conscious subject, they wanted a tool. Weeks of testing had allowed her to map every inch of the structure, including rooms she had never physically visited. She had located every weak spot in the electrical system, stored guard shifts, identified side exits, but it had been the future conversation intercepted yesterday that had crystallized her decision. The subject shows brain. Prepare transfer to the Colorado 9 facility. Proceed with extraction and cryopreservation of neural tissue for detailed analysis. Colorado 9, one of the 12 Project Aurora government facilities that Elena had seen during the most intense sessions. She had collected coordinates, access codes, code names, information no one suspected she could get. Elena had discovered a side effect of the test. Her brain impulses, when focused precisely, generated tiny electrical fluctuations in nearby circuits. Maintaining an impassive setup that she had perfected over weeks, she concentrated all her mental energy toward the junction between the main panel and the MSR-5 power supply. The overloads that followed were rapid and devastating. The main lights went out, plunging the hallway into darkness. Elena tore off the electrodes and moved with calculated precision along the path that she had stored, toward the partially visible service door behind Dr. Nakamura. Approximately 25 seconds later, when the emergency generators activated, the orange chair was empty. Weiss found only a sheet of paper containing a random sequence of numbers. 3 days later, they deciphered the message. Precise coordinates of all experimental sites in the Aurora program. Over the next 14 days, each facility suffered unexplained malfunctions, losing all the data they had collected. Project Aurora was officially terminated in December 1973. The classified reports contained a single note. Subject influence on instruments compromised. Experimental integrity, status missing. Current capabilities unknown. Potential threat undetermined. So basically what happened was she eventually gained psychic abilities throughout these trials. And when they figured that out, they told them to send her to Colorado 9 to extract her brain to put it in cryogenic chambers so they could study it later and figure out exactly what took place. So they were going to unalive her. That's why she prepared the entire time to escape. And that's exactly what she did. Shortly after, all kinds of mishaps were happening throughout all of the program's sites, all the way 1 through 12. She basically was shutting them down. And she was successful. And they never found her or where she ended up. Next, we're going to talk about this new cutting-edge technology called Septisync, invented by a TikToker. Septisync is a cutting-edge audio technology developed by Ethan Friess, designed to facilitate altered states of consciousness through advanced brainwave entrainment techniques. Unlike traditional binaural beats that use a single pair of frequencies, Septisync employs a septoneural approach, layering 7 binaural beats derived from 14 distinct frequencies. This multi-layered method aims to guide the brain into refined states of awareness, supporting both relaxation and focus simultaneously. This came to Ethan in a dream. That's how he chose the frequencies and everything. He dreamed that he was accepting a prize in front of a large audience for his technology and its innovations. How it works? Septisync's foundation lies in the concept of brainwave entrainment, where the brain synchronizes its electrical activity to external auditory stimuli. By delivering 7 different frequency pairs, Septisync creates a complex auditory environment that may facilitate deeper meditative states without meditating, enhance creativity and emotional balance. Many have different experiences with it. Users have reported a range of experiences with this new Septisync technology, including enhanced visualization. Some individuals with an ability to visualize have reported experiencing mental imagery for the first time. Altered states, reports of sensation akin to out-of-body experiences, so basically sending you into the astral immediately. Deep trance states and vivid, dreamlike visuals. Feelings of vibrations, tingling, and a sense of floating have been commonly noted. Emotional and cognitive benefits. Users have mentioned improved emotional well-being, reduced anxiety, and heightened mental clarity. Y'all, it's crazy. It's said that deaf people who use it suddenly can hear. I don't know what he's done. He's just altered certain technologies that already exist, but what he's found could be totally groundbreaking. It's also kind of interesting because people have reported hearing death-defying screams, all kinds of different experiences from sounds to visualization. What many say is it's very similar to Hemisync and the Gateway tapes. Gateway tapes were part of the Gateway Experience, developed by the Monroe Institute and analyzed by the U.S. Army, Project Gateway. What are the Gateway tapes? The Gateway tapes are a series of guided audio sessions designed to help people achieve expanded states of consciousness using a technique called Hemisync, hemispheric synchronization. They were developed by Robert Monroe, a pioneer in and out-of-body experiences and altered state research. The U.S. Army got involved in the 1980s to investigate the tapes for potential military intelligence applications, especially for remote viewing, psychological training, and enhanced cognition. How the Gateway process worked was they used binaural beats. They'd set a different frequency in each ear, and a third tone would be produced in your head that would be the average of those 2 frequencies minus each other. So if you had a 9 and a 2, you would produce a 7. The background tone would help your brain reach a relaxed state of consciousness that would allow you to potentially astral project, remote view, even give you enhanced intuition and heightened senses. Did it work? Yes. It ended up being a success, and you can check out the declassified CIA documents today. Why is Septisync better? Because they claim they use 7 layers of frequency sounds instead of just 2. And it's supposed to give you more of a supernatural entrainment and allow you to reach multiple brainwave states at once, like theta or alpha heightened alertness, possibly even allowing you to astral travel, lucid dream, where you can act out your dreams, or hyperfocus while doing all these things. Many users say it does get you into a meditative state much quicker, but many users would argue that it's untested and unverified by science. There hasn't been any rigorous study done on it. As a result, it could pose a potential risk, which is possible, but any users that have commented on it or written reviews have had nothing but positive experiences so far. What do you guys think? Do you think it's too much, too quick, or do you think it could be something innovative and a breakthrough in this technology? Next, I want to talk about another alleged giant sighting in Mexico. It looks to be legit, but I can't quite tell whether or not for sure it's a giant, but the being does look fairly tall, and it does seem to be standing on a mountaintop way out in the desert. Check it out, let me know what you think.
viste? ¿Ya viste allá arriba del cerro?
Now I thought about it, and this reminds me of a sighting that happened back in like 2022 or 2023. A gentleman was driving by this mountaintop in his car, and he spotted the giant standing at the very peak of it. The one previous was actually later. I wonder if it's the same giant we're seeing here as in this previous video. Check it out.
Yo vi un gigante ahí arriba. ¿Qué será? Se mueve, se mueve.
Pay close attention, it's gonna start walking now. What the heck is going on here?
Next, I want to show you this old video, probably from the late 80s, early 90s, of a Qigong master using supernatural powers that he developed himself, and he claims that anybody can develop, but they have to use Qi. He actually found out that they shared this video with the public, and he never spoke to these reporters again. They could not get an audience with him whatsoever because they betrayed him by sharing this video. Check it out.
Like this, it's nothing, okay? It's my brain. Just like this.
For our sound recordist, it was also a shocker. He then took our newspaper outside and showed us how Qi can also be used to set things on fire. When he heard we'd shown this footage in public, he was very upset and refused all our future efforts to contact him again. As the years passed, we sadly resigned ourselves to never seeing him again.
Absolutely insane. He's literally producing a shock with his body. Then he uses Qi to literally catch a newspaper on fire. Whether you believe it or not is up to you. but I think there could be some credence to this. It seems really interesting, to say the least. The man wouldn't talk to them ever again, but you never know. Of course, it could be faked, but at the same time, could it be real? It looked pretty cool. I know that. It looked pretty legit, especially the shocking part. But the fire could be arguable. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. Do you believe in Chi? Is it possible? And is it possible to do things like this gentleman just did in this video? In this next clip, you'll see former Brazilian President Michel Temer change while he's giving a speech. You'll hear his voice become something different. Many believe that he slips up here and whatever mechanism he's using fails. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Já eliminamos vários ministérios da máquina pública. E ao mesmo tempo, nós não vamos parar por aí. Já estão encomendados. Bem que eu pedi uma pastilha. Já estão encomendados estudos para eliminar. Chega, é muito. Já estão.
Stay in love, stay in light, be kind to others. I am out.